Surveillance footage captured the exact moment of preparation: a chainsaw, hooded coveralls, a heavy-duty tarp, and a large plastic storage bin. These items were bought to conceal a body, but they were purchased an entire day before the victim was actually killed. The woman pushing the cart was Concetta Tilford. Her victim was 27-year-old Concetta Morton. Concetta was an adult with special needs, and Tilford had spent months using that vulnerability against her. This extreme level of calculation took what would normally be charged as a standard homicide and elevated it into a rare and complex legal classification. The ensuing trial took place in Westchester County, New York, a jurisdiction that had never prosecuted a case exactly like this before. This diagram shows the legal threshold for murder charges. To get a standard first-degree murder conviction, prosecutors generally need to prove premeditation and intent. But to charge someone under the state's rare torture murder statute, the evidentiary bar is significantly higher. The state required flawless, undeniable proof that the suffering inflicted wasn't a sudden escalation of violence, but a deliberate, long-term objective. Concetta's family initiated a missing persons search the moment their communication with her abruptly stopped. But police only zeroed in on Tilford's Franklin Avenue apartment after her own cousin came forward. He told investigators that he had seen a decomposing body inside the unit. During a raid, officers found Concetta Morton's remains hidden inside that exact same plastic storage bin from the hardware store. Later that day, police tracked Tilford to a nearby Days Inn and took her into custody. Finding the victim and making an arrest gave prosecutors their suspect, but they were still missing the evidence required to invoke the torture statute. They had to prove prolonged, deliberate intent. To find that intent, the Westchester County District Attorney's high-tech unit began extracting digital records. This timeline illustrates the 5 months spanning April to September of 2023. The statute requires prosecutors to prove a slow, deliberate campaign of cruelty over an extended period, rather than a single fatal attack. Investigators pulled hundreds of digital files directly from Tilford's phone. These nodes represent recordings of Tilford, in her own voice, isolating, degrading, and physically abusing Concetta over the entire 5-month period. Tilford recognized Concetta's special needs almost immediately, and methodically used that vulnerability to strip away the family members who had always protected her. Because Tilford meticulously documented her own crimes, she accidentally built a flawless digital archive that satisfied the statute's strict requirements for a sustained campaign of abuse. In February of 2026, the trial opened at the Westchester County Courthouse. Rather than presenting Concetta's death as an isolated event, prosecutors expanded the scope of the case. They called upon prior victims to testify. Jurors heard testimonies detailing a clear history of coercion, sexual violence, and witness intimidation in Tilford's earlier relationships. By exposing this overarching predatory blueprint, the state secured convictions on all charges, cementing the historic first-degree torture murder verdict. Judge George Fufidio condemned the conduct as wanton and cruel, delivering the maximum possible penalty, life in prison without the possibility of parole. During sentencing, the emotional weight of the proceedings shifted to Concetta's family, specifically her sister, Joanne Dunn. Dunn stood before the court and explained that because Concetta experienced the world differently, she loved and trusted differently. That meant she required more patience and more genuine protection than most people ever need, protection she was brutally denied. The justice system ultimately punished the perpetrator with exact precision, but it completely failed to protect a vulnerable adult while she was still alive. Concetta Tilford was permanently transferred to Bedford Hills Correctional Facility. Today, the Morton family continues to advocate for structural change, demanding stronger safeguards for developmentally disabled adults so that authorities can intervene before predators successfully isolate them. This case may serve as a precise legal template for prosecuting torture murder in the future, but its true legacy is a permanent warning about the societal blind spots that predators continue to exploit.